Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joy Jamerson, and before I get started on this 30 minutes of excellence, I would like to say a big thank you to the National Association of Workforce Development Professionals team for allowing me to do a presentation on building partnerships with HBCUs. And I had to add HBCCs as well because a lot of people don't know that there are HBCCs. So I kind of tweaked the title. So I want to say thank you to Melissa and to Kimberly and to the entire staff of NADA for giving me this opportunity and this platform to share with you some ways on building partnerships with HBCUs. Today, we will explore the significance of building strong partnerships with HBCUs and HBCCs. If you don't know, these institutions have a rich history of academic excellence and play a real crucial role in developing talent pipelines. We'll cover key areas to ensure effective collaborations, and this is just recommendations that I have implemented in my daily work duties to build partnerships with HBCUs and HBCCs. So before we start, if you don't know who I am, again, my name is Joy Jamerson. I am one of the program managers here at HCAP, which is the Healthcare Career Advancement Program. Overall, we're a national labor management organization that promotes innovation and quality in healthcare career education. And then we are also a U.S. Department of Labor National Industry Intermediary and Apprenticeship Ambassador. So what does that mean? We help organizations across the U.S. build and expand registered apprenticeship opportunities in the healthcare sector, and that's for both health, clinical and non-clinical side. So let's get down to it. While we're here for you all to learn how to build partnerships with HBCUs and HBCCs. But before we get into that, you want to learn the history of HBCUs and HBCCs. So if you didn't know, most HBCUs were founded around 1865 in the 1900s. They were founded because African Americans didn't have a place to get educated. And the first institution or HBCU was Cheyney University in Pennsylvania, which was founded in 1837. As of today, there are more than 100 HBCUs and HBCCs located across the US. And this is just a little design that I saw on Google just to give you some of those names of those HBCUs. I am also proud to say that I am a graduate of an HBCU, Southern University at New Orleans. Shout out to the Knights. We're part of the Southern University in Baton Rouge system. So this is a map of where all of these great institutions that we love to call HBCUs and HBCCs are located. So you're here, you have some in Texas, in Oklahoma, in New Jersey, in Delaware, in Pennsylvania, in Ohio, in Florida, in Mississippi, in Louisiana, in Georgia. The list of those over 100 institutions can be found on Google. And I have really started building out a contact list of those individuals that we need to contact to make those connections with building partnerships. And I'll discuss why I started building that list in a later slide. So why should we partner with HBCUs and HBCCs? If you didn't know, there is a rich legacy of academic excellence and community engagement. HBCUs have been the pillar of higher education for over a century, producing leaders in various fields. Their commitment to student success and community involvement fosters well-rounded graduates prepared to contribute meaningfully into the society. They develop talented student pipelines that sometimes go untouched and unnoticed. HBCUs across the US enroll thousands of highly motivated students across different academic disciplines. And many students bring unique perspectives and skills that enhance workplace innovation and adaptability. And I say it's untouched because when I was at Southern University at New Orleans, when we had job fairs or career fairs, we didn't have the Googles or the Apples or any other of those big name organizations coming to recruit at Southern University at New Orleans, which we call SUNO. So it's untapped because a lot of people don't know who to contact, and sometimes they don't even know that they exist. The third thing is why you should partner with HBCUs and HBCCs is they have a strong research and innovation opportunities. Many HBCUs have research centers and partner with government agencies and corporations and nonprofits. Collaborating with these institutions provides opportunities for groundbreaking research and technological advancement. And the last one is commitment to social impact and workforce development. This is self-explanatory in itself. HBCUs emphasize career readiness, leadership, and service. And being a proud graduate of one, I will tell you that at our small institution, they prepared me for the good, the bad, and the ugly for the workplace. HBCUs have a long-standing tradition of excellence in education and community involvement. They provide access to talented student population and foster innovation and research opportunities. Partnering with these institutions can contribute to both workforce development and social impact. By aligning HBCUs and partnering with HBCUs with your workforce development organizations, it's happened to a dedicated talent pool engaged in meaningful research and strengthening the communities that we so love. So, Joy, everybody always asks me, and I don't understand why, but they always ask me, what are the steps? How do you build these how do you build these partnerships with HBCUs? And it's really simple. They're easily approachable. But I will tell you this, you have to have a game plan. First, you want to research and do outreach. And we're going to discuss this further along when I give you more examples. You want to learn about these HBCUs and HBCCs. You want to learn about the programs, the faculty, and the students. I had the honor and the privilege of presenting to some HBCC students at the Thurgood Marshall College Fund inaugural Workforce Development Conference last month. And I tell you, those students, they blew my mind. They reminded me of myself when I was at SUNO some years ago. So you want to learn about these universities and colleges. You want to learn about their students. You want to learn about the programs they offer. Because if you are sitting, you may be sitting right across the street from an HBCU and their students are needing your service. They need to know who you are and you need to know who they are. Also, you need to help them develop programs. A lot of HBCUs and HBCCs are wanting you to come and introduce yourselves. They're wanting to know what's going on in workforce development. They're wanting the assistance, but they are also like you, not knowing who to contact or how to begin. So, how can you develop these programs? A lot of HBCUs and HBCCs have been reaching out to us to tap into registered apprenticeships. Some of their students may be eligible to receive your services like WIOA or vocational rehab. Some of them may also be able to receive some of your support services resources. And then also you can introduce them to employer partners that you may be working with. So it is a win-win for both parties. So that my charge to you is start researching, start doing your outreach, and start helping them develop other pathways or programs for their students. But most of all, I want you all to sustain that engagement. Don't just reach out today and then don't reach out anymore. Don't reach out because the grant says you need to reach out to HBCUs and HBCCs. Make it meaningful because if I have said this and if I don't say it, I know some people will say, well, why you didn't? They know when you're just there for a moment. You want to be able to provide them with service and don't overpromise what you guys can do, but you want to be able to provide them with the opportunities that they can be able to give to their students. So sustaining that engagement, Yes, the grant say reach out to it. Yes, the contract says reach out to it. But don't just do it because the grant or the contract says it. Do it meaningfully and be intentional. So, how have HCAP been successful in building partnerships with HBCUs and HBCCs? One thing I forgot to put their logo in, we have partnered with the Thurgood Marshall College Fund. Also, we partner with Morehouse College, Morehouse School of Medicine, and Jarvis Christian College, Jarvis Christian University. With Morehouse School of Medicine, they built a CHW apprenticeship program. HCAP wasn't there in the beginning, but the state of Georgia reached out to us to be able to help them implement and expand their offerings. Currently, they're working just on CHW, but in their 5-year plan, they're wanting to expand their registered apprenticeship opportunities into more so they can give more opportunities to their students. But how did this partnership develop? It developed by us working together with the state of Georgia's apprenticeship office and then HCAP being able to provide them with the resources they would need to be able to fulfill what they were wanting to do. Yes, they had trailblazers there. Yes, they have the education. But one thing that I love about Morehouse School of Medicine is that they're the pillar of wanting to do more and doing beyond that. Jarvis Christian University is the same way. I met them at the White House Initiative HBCU conference, and they already had a registered apprenticeship program. It wasn't active, so we reactivated it and we started going out into the community. They didn't know who we were, but I knew who they were. So it's a matter of starting the conversation. Where do you begin? How do you start? Who do you contact? They're not afraid of you, and you shouldn't be afraid of them. So if you have the resources, I guarantee it, if you have a plan, they will welcome you with open arms, especially if your plan is going to be to help their students be successful. So, what would be some next steps? And ladies and gentlemen, I did not have a long, lengthy presentation. I wanted more dialogue. I wanted you guys to ask questions. There is no question, big or small, that I won't be able to answer. But working with HBCUs and HBCCs is one of the highlights of my workday. So next steps will be let's work together and be intentional. If you're in a state that have HBCUs around them, let's build out a plan. Let's identify those HBCUs and HBCCs and then reach out to see what their academic offerings are, what kind of student organizations have, and even their career development initiatives. They have career fairs, they have job fairs, they have individuals coming in and giving information to their students. You need to be able to link up with those individuals at that university or college that put on those events, so you'll be able to have a time slot or be able to present about the offerings that you can provide to their students and even the institution. You want to establish points of contact with career services and faculty leadership, workforce development, and student affairs. Now, I will tell you guys, it's not easy. It is, I can't tell you that it's easy. It is hard. Because if you're trying to contact the president, it's not going to work. The president is president. He or she don't have time to come in and give us, well, for me or you to come in and give them a 30-minute speech of what we can do. That's what they have workforce development for, student affairs for. So I tried to contact presidents, y'all. It didn't work. So I had to sit back and rethink what I should do. I tapped into some past resources and contacts, and they were like, Joy, you really need to reach out to the continuing education departments, the career services, or workforce development. If not all three are on that university or college campus, one of the other offices are. So that's where I've been having success, in the continuing education office, in the workforce development department, or with career services. I'm starting to get some traction with student affairs, but it hasn't taken off yet. But with faculty leadership, with what I do in registered apprenticeship, they're thinking that I'm trying to change their curriculum and all this other stuff, y'all. It, like I told you, it's going to be hard, but it's going to be worth it. So what I started to do was I have an Excel spreadsheet. I have all of HBCUs on this spreadsheet, and I have, if they have a career services department, if they have a workforce development department, if they have whatever departments that deal with students, student affairs, I have all of that on the Excel spreadsheet with the point of context. I also see when grants are awarded to see if any HBCUs have been awarded that grant. An example of that is a new grant that HRSA put down called the Geriatric Workforce Educational Program. A few HBCUs received that grant, and inside that grant, they have a registered apprenticeship component. 9 times out of 10, the HBCU, because a lot of other institutions don't know about registered apprenticeships, I have a section on my Excel spreadsheet where I have that contact information to reach out. So that's how I'm initiating outreach. What programs do you have at your offices that can contribute to their student success? What resources do you have at your offices that can contribute to these students' success? That's how you will be able to identify the HBCUs and HBCCs to work with and establish those points of contact. And then again, in the beginning, like I said, you want to sustain that engagement. You want to develop a framework. I have a monthly call with Jarvis Christian. I have a bi-monthly call with Morehouse College School of Medicine, and all of my other HBCUs and HBCCs that I'm building relationships with, they will be on that same level. If I hear about grants and if it's a program that they have at their school, I'm sending them that grant information. If they're telling me their students need help, I'm trying to send them or make connections to workforce development. Remember when we were kids and they said it takes a village? It's going to take a village for us to tap into this untapped resource of HBCUs and HBCCs. I'm not an expert, I'm only a graduate. I'm not an expert, I'm only a program manager here. But I would say this, working with my HBCUs, the ones that I love so dearly, that's rich and true, has been one of the highlights of being able to present to you about this information. So, with all of that being said, I want you guys, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or issues, please come off mute or put them in the chat box and I will answer your questions to the best of my ability. For sure, somebody got one question. Mhm. Of course. Since no one has any
I
questions.
do have a question.
Okay, I heard somebody say they do have a question.
My name is Treva Smith. My camera is blurry today.
Okay.
Anyways, my question is I'm in Kansas and we don't have an HBCU um in the state of Kansas. We have there are a couple in Missouri, but closer to the east side. What is your best strategy for us folks who don't have those in our state?
I will say one, if you have a neighboring state that have HBCUs, reach out. But two, start attending those HBCU, HBCC focus conferences. That's how you can make the connections. Most of their students are, um, how can I say this? They're out of state students. So I lived in New Orleans all of my life. I went to Southern University of New Orleans, SUNO. So I was there. I was local, but we had students that was coming near and far to our school. So I would say if you can partner with your schools, if they're on that verge, like if you can go over there and offer services, partnering with your neighboring states, or just start attending those HBCU, HBCC focused conferences. I know Thurgood Marshall has a few conferences. There is some more. There was one called Empowered. But if I can find some and send them out to NADOP so they can share them with you. But there are conferences that is focused around HBCUs. Now, with the new government and the new administration, they typically have the White House Initiative HBCU conference every September. I don't know if that's still happening, but if it does, I'll send that information to Kimberly to share out to the team as to you all as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So one question in the chat was our challenge has been trying to maintain connections with our HBCUs and HBCCs. Okay, let me tell y'all this. Because I worked at two HBCUs, one private and one public. Um, you will have somebody in one position, but they're doing 17 other different positions. And I'm pretty sure that you guys who is in workforce development can attest to that. You can say amen because they want you to do this. We all want workforce development wants you to do this, and then 1,000 other things. So it's the same thing. It's not just on HBCU and HBCC campuses, it's on every institutional campus. So they really, I mean, turnover is real. But I will say this, if you're experiencing those challenges of keeping good contacts, just if you can find one contact, like my friends are career services. That's where I go, or workforce development or continuing ed. Those three offices, their staff always stays the same. I haven't had any turnover within those three departments. So I would say start with workforce development, career services, or continuing ed, and they'll be able to provide you with the context. But those three departments will give you student access. So if you're trying to get into like the College of Nursing or other like different academic programs, it's going to be hard because let me tell y'all something. Them deans is they deaning, and yeah, that's so true. But look into partnering with the career services, the workforce development, or the continuing ed. If not all three on that campus, one of the other is on that college campus. The grants, someone asked about grants. The grants are located on grants.gov. And then a lot of the grants, they may remove the HBCU and HBCC names, and they may just say underrepresented institutions or minority serving institutions. And that's what they're meaning about HBCUs. So there's probably a new grant coming down. Don't know. It's around nursing. And they may have a part in that grant that wants you to tap into those underrepresented minority serving institutions. You really have to read the grants to see what their target population is consisting of. So with my program, what we have is registered apprenticeships, right? And registered apprenticeships, everybody is talking about it. It's really, I think, is going to save our workforce. It's one program that will save our workforce, I should say. And a lot of employers reach out to us and they're wanting to build occupations in nursing, in red tech, in surgical tech, in these higher level positions in healthcare. The pushback that I get from my HBCUs or from deans, and then I've even had someone say, "Well, we vet everybody that we partner with," and I had to challenge that individual. I was like, "You vet everybody you partner with, but you're partner with Amazon, who's hiring your students to be in a warehouse, and here I'm trying to partner you with this hospital that will hire 15 of your nursing students." So they'll look at us and think that the services that we are providing will not be what their students are wanting. But when I presented to these students at the Thurgood Marshall College Fund last month, these students were hungry for a registered apprenticeship opportunity. They went back to school telling them about the registered apprenticeship opportunity, and then the school started reaching out to me. So it's just like if you can't get in the campus on the campus and talk to the individuals in charge, let's find where these students are located and start talking to these students. Because again, these students need your resources. Some of them are working 3 and 4 jobs just to pay tuition. Some of them they have families and they need support. Some of them need you, and by them keeping you out doesn't make sense. We're trying to bridge that gap to help you get in to help them provide services. Like I said in the beginning, they don't know what you offer. They don't know that you even exist. So we need to come up with a plan, an event, or something to highlight and showcase what workforce development is about and the services that we provide to their students and the services that we can provide to their students if eligible. We got to make sure that we say that if they're eligible. So with working together and being on one accord and being like that village, we have to be in alignment with each other. So if you're wanting to partner with HBCUs and looking to partner with HBCUs, you can reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to talk to you, to help you develop a plan, um, to do office visits with you. If you're in Texas, I will do some office visits because I'm local in Texas and I know a lot of the people in Louisiana. So we have to work together in order to be able to fulfill or provide services to HBCUs and HBCCs and make it meaningful. And again, being intentional. Um, I am Timothy. I am in contact with the Divine Nine. I am a member of Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated. So, with some of the programs that we have at our local chapter, I always give information to them to give out to our community. It's just sometimes they're where we're located, we can't go over here and service. So it's just making those connections with other Divine Nine members and making sure that they know about the services. Hey Brittany, hey Sarah. Ooh. So yeah, it's if we have to make the connection somewhere. We have to build out a plan. Guys, I don't know it all. And I'm still learning how to partner with some of our HBCUs and HBCCs. I will say some of the presidents at these institutions have been very graceful of sending my information to their staff. And I've met with some of the staff, but it's just, we can't always depend on the president to do anything. We have to do the groundwork. And again, you can't do it by yourself. I know you guys are busy, so let me help you. Let's work together. If you want to do an event in your state where there is multiple HBCUs and invite these HBCUs, let's do it. Let's do an event. We can talk about the services. We can talk about registered apprenticeships. We can make it into a yearly or even a quarterly thing until they register what we're trying to do. And again, you have to keep in mind that our definition of workforce development is totally different from their definition of workforce development, just like it's different at an employer's. So when we say workforce development, we know what we're talking about, but we want to make sure that they know what we're talking about when we're talking about workforce. So that this is all of my contact information. I'm also on LinkedIn. You can find me underneath my name. You guys can connect. If you don't have any other questions, that, like I said, it was going to be a short presentation because I really wanted you guys to ask me questions on how to partner, and I can give you advice and give you some tips. But as I stated, I've been in this position 3 years, and if I can't do 100, or have a list of 100, if I can get a good 10, I'm happy. I'm happy because I'm helping those students at that 10. So if you get
I
one
have a
partner,
question.
uh-huh,
I'm sorry to interrupt, and I'm sorry that I'm not on screen. I'm actually a little under the weather.
no problem.
I I am an apprenticeship navigator with Maryland Department of Labor here in Maryland. In Maryland, we have 4 HBCUs.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know you talked about actually linking up with the HBCUs to basically bring employers to bring registered apprenticeships to the students. But have you ever actually started registered apprenticeship programs within the HBCU itself? Like, as far as like some of the occupations that they have that they actually hire at the different HBCUs. Have you done any of that, or has it been more so getting employers registered as an apprenticeship program and then connecting the students with the employers?
What I'm seeing is more HBCCs, which is the historically Black community colleges, doing
Okay.
registered apprenticeships more than the universities. But
Oh,
I'm seeing a twist now because a lot of HBCUs are being brought in with employers to be the RTI provider, and then tap into their student population as a pipeline. So more HBCCs are registering and being the sponsor, but more HBCUs are being the related technical instruction provider, and then a talent pipeline to the employer. So when the employer,
okay.
it's crazy because the employer always asks Joy, how can we recruit, more from underrepresented populations, more from HBCUs? I'm like, are you reaching out to them? What does your marketing look like? Have you made any contact? So that's another thing. Like, what does our marketing look like to bring in more HBCUs and HBCCs? Here at HCAP, we didn't have anything, so I created something. So you want to look at marketing, you want to look at what you're currently doing, and if that's not working, we need a better plan. So I'm seeing more HBCCs down in Alabama doing more registered apprenticeship sponsorships, but more HBCUs being the RTI provider.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? I love this presentation, y'all. And let me tell you, I'm gonna be honest. I really had to really think and like really go hard on what I really wanted to share, and I was overthinking it, and then God was like, look, just give them what you know. And this is what I know. This is the information that I provided to you all, is what I know, is what I've been semi successful in. And then with building these relationships, I've also built relationships outside other external partners that have introduced me to HBCUs and HBCCs. So you can utilize that tool as well. Like I can bring the HBCUs to you, just welcome me in, and vice versa. So this is my contact information. I love and appreciate all of you guys. Again, thank you, NADOP, for this opportunity. I will be presenting at this year's NADOP conference, and I hope to see you there in Virginia. With that being said, my name is Joy Jamerson, Program Manager here at HCAP, and a proud graduate of an HBCU. Thank you all for attending this 30 minutes of excellence on partnering with HBCUs and HBCCs. Until May,